Hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to take part in. This one is called Zelda merch. Zelda, like the video game. So it's a little bit about Zelda merch. So they are the first store that is dedicated to the Legend of Zelda merch, and it stands out. At Zelda Merchandise, they specialize in delivering one-of-a-kind, high-quality Legend of Zelda merchandise that you won't find anywhere else. So whether you're a devoted fan of Zelda, or you collect unique items, or you're just searching for the perfect gift for someone, I could think of someone myself who I could gift this for. Their exclusive products are designed to celebrate your love for the series. So they pride themselves in offering a diverse range of premium items. So you can get stylish apparel or stunning accessories to captivating home decor and collectibles. So what sets them apart is their dedication to bringing you rare and distinctive creations inspired by the iconic world of Zelda. So from exclusive designs featuring your favorite characters and symbols to custom crafted treasures, you won't find this anywhere else. Everything in their store is made to amaze. So these are different things that you can find. If you're interested, you can get exclusive designs inspired by Zelda's legendary world, premium craftsmanship at the best prices, unique creative products that elevate your fandom. So they have weekly bestsellers. They have different rings that you can partake in. They also have Bluetooth controllers or Joy-Con chargers, Nintendo Switch carry cases, Zelda games, of course, and they have Switch card holders, different controllers that are obviously Zelda inspired, or you can go for the more merchandise type stuff. They have wallets, music boxes, phone cases, mouse pads, keycaps, purses, plushies, watches, mugs. I think I know what I'm going to be doing. I think I know what I'm going to be getting. A special person in my life who loves Zelda. They have mugs, alarm clocks, backpacks. They also have different jewelries, necklaces, keychains, earrings. I mentioned the rings already, or even just other fun stuff like puzzles, paintings, rugs, blankets, even bedding. They also have stickers if you want to go that route, or wall art, posters. You can also get things for someone's birthday, birthday themed Zelda, figures, lamps, Lego. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So if you want to partake in that as well as support the podcast, you can go to zelda-merchandise.com/reality2. So that again is zelda-merchandise.com/reality2 to partake in that. There is also a coupon code that will also be reality2 that you can also use at checkout as well to support not only Zelda merchandise, but as well as the podcast. Patreon going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first two tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with a Thousand Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/reality times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it, even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/reality times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be doing Love is Blind, episode 2. So just as a quick note, so I did mention in the first episode that I was going to be releasing episodes early on Patreon. But I think I'm just going to stick to the regular formatting of what we do so that I'm not falling too behind for people on the regular feed. So moving forward with episodes, we're going to be releasing with ads on the main feed, and then there will be ad-free versions of the show on the Patreon. That's probably what I'll be doing. Maybe it will be released a day early. Who knows? Like they will be released as early or whatever on Patreon if possible. But I'll mention that for sure when posting the episode. Anyways, that's the only thing I wanted to mention here with that. So let's just jump into the reason why we are here. And that is Love is Blind episode 2. So we left off with this Elisa, or Elisa, I think that's her name, who we don't really see much of anyways. We left off with her having some situation going on. And when we come back to episode 2, she's back and she's fine now, y'all. She's fine. But apparently, the story goes, she saw a bottle and she thought that it was eye drops. Turned out it was not eye drops. It was nail glue, like your nails glue. Yeah. Yikes. First of all, I have many questions. My first question to this lady is, number one, if you see a bottle that could resemble one thing, but you're not 100% sure if it could be that thing. Because I've definitely seen glue bottles, not necessarily nail glue, but I have definitely seen glue bottles that look like an eyedropper, right? So it's like, if you see that, maybe we don't jump to use it, right? Because you don't know what it is. Number two, are we just going to use random eye drops that are just sitting there instead of using your own eye drops? Like I wouldn't, personally, but I just have many questions. Maybe this could be, how do we say, maybe it was hers. It could have been hers. Maybe she left it there, thought it was hers. But then again, it's like, we don't read labels. Like listen, I don't want to shame the victim here. But the choices were made in this situation that I personally wouldn't have. But anyways, we have our reveal with Christine and Vic, and he says that she's beautiful. Are we seriously playing you two right now? Wow. Okay. This is expensive. He says it wouldn't have mattered what you look like. I love you anyways. Oh, that's so sweet. Anyways, um, just as a reminder, I will do my predictions at the end of my episode. I think it's 5. So I will do the predictions at that point once we have all of our couples. Emma is feeling really gaslit right now by Steven, but she's going to focus on Mike and Connor since Steven did not work out. Now, y'all, at the point of me watching the show, I knew nothing about Steven. At the time of me recording my first episode, I knew nothing about Steven. I could tell something was going on, but I didn't see anything. It wasn't until I was listening to other podcasters talking about Love is Blind is when I found out about Connor. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm not Connor, sorry. Ooh, Steven. Sorry, Connor. Not Connor. Um, Steven. So in case anyone doesn't know, Steven was, there are allegations about him in the sexual assault type realm. Apparently, this particular incident did happen after filming of the show, but it has come out. So he's garbage, and I hope we don't see him again. I mean, listen, when I watched him and the way he was kind of dealing with Emma, I got the creeps from him. I think I made that very probably clear in my recording that I got the creeps by him. Now we know why. Anyways, so Emma, she's with Mike, and he says that the only thing I worry about is the kids' conversation, which I think is legitimate. I think it's legitimate that he wants to have kids and he seems to be really into her. How can we, compromise or something? And I do think she's legitimate in her thing too, but we'll dig more into that in a second as we kind of go through the stories here. So she discloses her adoption, and her reservation is not knowing her birth parents, and more in particular, not knowing whether or not she could pass anything on to her children. I think it's safe to say that maybe her biggest worry is the birthmarks and how that could have turned out. I think she's worried about that. Is that a genetic thing? Was that me? What could that be? I mean, who knows, right? But I think it's legitimate what she's feeling and the worry of not knowing. I think that's 100% legitimate. I do want to say that if she does want to have children, really truly wants to have children, and she's letting this hold her back a little bit, I would implore her therapy to kind of talk through that, figure it out, whether or not you really do want to have kids. If you don't want to have kids, like either way, there's no wrong answer here, right? Um, so it's maybe that's what she needs, because I would hate for her to potentially live out an opportunity to be a mother if that's what she wants, off of something that may never happen. But again, her fear is legitimate, and potentially her not wanting kids is very valid, and I think it should be respected. And again, I do think him wanting children should also be. Does that mean they're potentially right for each other? Probably not. But let's continue. Um, she at this point talks about birthmark and the surgeries and the potential melanoma that could have turned into. And he provides a much better response than what Stephen provided. He's listening to her. He's attentive to her. He's giving her words of encouragement. He's validating what she's saying. Something Stephen did not do. So, way better. Much better. Thank you. Um, he says to her, I will never judge you for your appearance. Perfect. He's like, I do not want to push you, but based on this, I think you'll be a great mom. And maybe she would be. Maybe she would be a great mom. But that also doesn't constitute her wanting to be a mom. There's a difference. There are plenty of people, I think, that could be great moms or great fathers or whatever, but maybe don't want to be. They can be great to other people's children. You can be maternal without being a mother. So, I, you know, I don't, I know I hear him saying he doesn't want to push her, but to me, it's like, what's going to happen if she does say, hey, I don't want to have kids. I have figured it out. I don't want to have kids. And that's that. I don't want to adopt. I don't want to have birth kids. Nothing. I don't want it. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? You would have gone through this with this hope that one day she'll get there. And then the day comes and she gives you the answer, but it's not the answer you want, you know? Um, so yeah, I don't know. And again, I don't know if adoption would ever be enough for him either way. Even if she's like, yeah, I want to have kids, but I don't want to have biological children. I don't know if he would even be in agreement to adoption. Stephen was. He seemed to be a little bit more open with that. I think Connor as well. But Mike seems to be more, I want to have my own kids, but it could be wrong. Maybe I missed that. So that would be very interesting. Um, he explains that he was born premature. He'd struggled to breathe, and he actually flatlined. He died essentially, but he was brought back to life, clearly because he's here with us. He ends this story off by saying to her, we're fighters. See, I liked that. I liked that. I did like that. And we'll see how this goes with them. Then she's talking to Connor. She's having the same conversation with him now about like the birthmark surgeries. Um, but a new fact. She apparently was left at a train station by her birth parents. Oh, by a train station. Wow. Anyways, she says that she doesn't not want her kids to, sorry, I did that wrong. She says that she doesn't want her kids to struggle with what she went through. And he says the same thing. Of course, we never want our children to struggle with things that you know, we don't want that. Um, she's like, or he says, you're going to be a great mom and you're amazing. And yeah, I mean, all good things, all good things. We got Kevin. Kevin. Y'all guys, you need to buckle up with Kevin. Okay. I'm gonna come for Kevin. I am coming for Kevin. But we're not quite there yet. But I'm coming for Kevin. Whew, okay. We got Kevin and we have Tyler. And they talk about his guilt about her relocating because I think he's the one that's in Columbus and she's in Cincinnati or vice versa, whichever it is. But one's in Columbus, one's in Cincinnati. Apparently, that's pretty far. I do not live in the state, so I have no freaking clue. But according to, I think what I've heard from um, a different podcast, actually, it's Shut the Fuck Up, Nick Lachey, with Ellen Marsh and Daisy Egan. I think it was Daisy that mentioned that it's about an hour and a half away from each other. So that's crazy. It's not like you're relocating to a sense where it's like you're millions of hours away from your family and friends and work and whatnot. I don't think that's crazy. But what I think, better yet, and I think they do mention this at one point, meet somewhere in the middle. Boom. Everyone's happy. You know what I mean? Anyways. So, anyways, he's feeling guilty about her relocating. Sir, what about you? Here's the thing. I've watched enough of these shows between the show, Bachelor, whatever. Why is it when there's relocating involved that it's always the woman that needs to sacrifice her life, her job, her everything to go move with a man somewhere else in the States usually? Usually it's different states. This is the same state but just different cities. But it's, you know what I mean? Why is it always that? I mean, when you look, I mean, these guys are younger, but you see with like the Goldens, right, with Bachelor, and it's like you have Gary and Faith is like, hell no, I ain't leaving my buried horse. I don't know what to tell you, sir. Who wants to go to Indiana? Nothing's wrong with Indiana, but I'm just trying to say, it's always the woman that's expected to move. Why? So I understand his guilt with that, which I can appreciate. But then I'm like, so then why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you relocate then? Why don't both of you relocate? Like I just said, it's like, why does it have to be one or the other? You know? Anyways, it's fine. It's probably for the best. So, and then there's another thing, but what if you're unable to have kids? Like, it's anyway, she does ask, what would have to happen for you to distance yourself from your kids? Like, where is your thoughts on sexuality? He says, nah, of course, I have a vision for my kids, but I would love them anyways. Like, perfect answer. Perfect answer. This is probably the only time I like him. Perfect answer. And I think I've told the story before that I had this conversation with my ex, actually. And mind you, this is a more recent conversation. And it makes me realize, oh, maybe it's a good thing we didn't have kids, huh? Because back then, 10 or so years ago now, I thought I knew the man that I married, and, you know, he would never abandon his children no matter what happens. To find out that maybe he would have. That he is you putting your own feelings into your children's lives. And it's like, listen, you I do believe that you're entitled to your views, even if they're wrong. But I believe you are entitled to your views. For me, it's all about loving your children, no matter what the views could be. You know what I mean? Because, and I explained to them, like, I would have felt like I failed my children if I had children with a man who literally thought, they're not my children. I'm gonna turn my back on them. I don't know if I could. And that's not what I want for my kids. I want my kids to have unconditional love no matter what. And like I said, even if your views are your views, even if your views are wrong, because his views in my mind are wrong, but you're entitled to them. And I think at the end of the day, your views mean nothing when it comes to your children, which is why I'm grateful that the man I am with now, the man that I am trying to have children with now, is definitely kind of gave me a response that Kevin gave Tyler in this moment. I'm gonna love my children no matter what, because they're my kids. I made them. I raised them, Doesn't matter because God makes no mistakes. Let me make that very clear. Let me say it louder for anyone in the back, which by the way, if you are listening to this with hatred in your heart towards people who don't have nothing to do with you, you're listening to the wrong podcast. But if I need to say it a little louder, I will. God makes no mistakes. Anyways, let's get back to this. So, yeah, so he says, it is what it is. I'm gonna love my kids. But then he talks about his mom almost dying when he was 18 years old. Check this story. This is nuts. He says, actually, I had been suspended from school that day. So I had left school early. He was in high school, left school early. So he goes home and he finds his mother passed out on the floor. And apparently, they, get her to the hospital, whatever. They diagnose her with this rare blood disease um, that I don't know the details of. I think he explained it, but I missed it. But he says if I wasn't there, like if I hadn't been suspended and I went home at regular time, he would have found his mother dead. And that is some shit, let me tell you. But she does ask, do you have strong emotions for anyone else here? And he says, nah, I don't. Hold on to that. Because I'm like, eh? But when she goes back, she says, anyone dating Kevin? Anybody? Anyone dating Kevin? Kevin? Going once, going twice? Oh shit, there is someone else that's into Kevin. And she's like, I'm definitely getting engaged. But she misses something, and that something is Kia. Kia is the other person who is dating Kevin, which, here's my thing, Kevin, my guy. If you are dating someone else in the pods, just say that. The hell are we doing here? Anyways, Kevin says, Tyler is my number one. Okay, great. And I'm going to have to end this with Kia. Oh, are you now? All right, guys, let's get into how that's not going to fucking happen. So he goes to the date with Kia. She wants to get to know him more, but he does kind of say, like, I do think my connections are stronger elsewhere. Great. You think we're done here? We're not done here. He's like, but it is nice to open the door to you. No, sir. Back up. What you don't do is be like, I think my connections are stronger elsewhere, but, I really like opening the door to you, though. What the hell are you doing? You're giving her false hope. The hell? Let's continue. But where do we go from here? Duh, because you just literally told me your connections are stronger elsewhere. So I don't remember who sings this. Is it Deborah Cox? It must be Deborah. It has to be Deborah Cox. In the words of Deborah Cox, where do we go from here? I can't reach her nose, but don't ask me to, because it's not gonna happen. What my so much me. Oh, okay. Anyways, he says, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. Okay. See where my head, could be at, So she says this one story about her aunt saying love for her was hearing her favorite sound. What was her aunt's favorite sound, you might ask? Well, that was the sound of her husband, Takia's uncle, opening the door. That is actually really sweet. She says that she's looking forward to having that. Meal. He wants his ride or die, he says. So, but according to you, your ride or die was a Tyler a second ago. So what are we doing here? He says, I do like our connection, but you said the connection with Tyler was stronger. So you could like your connection with Kia, but you just said Kia's not. You know what I mean? He's like, I was fired up about my last date and everything. Okay, cool. Basically not being open to this date. So thank you for making me be open to this date. I kid you, at the end of this, I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, I'm actually really confused what just happened, because he went in here being like, I'm gonna end it with Kia, and then he's like, you know what, I love opening this door to you, so I'm gonna open the door to knowing this a little bit more about you. And first of all, she tells a story about her aunt. It's not a story about you, but I'll let it slide. And then he's like, you know, this date's been great. Okay, so then what's next? Very confused. In the men's quarters, we see Jordan baking some cookies. It's Mama's recipe. So he's going to share them with Amber. And she says they are amazing. They look good, not gonna lie. Then they're on their date, and he says, "Yeah, I am nervous about, um, did I say Emma? Must be Amber. But talking about her has put me at ease. Her having a good relationship with her dad helps too. Oh, right. Emma's her daughter. Forget her daughter. Her daughter's okay. So, yeah, he says he's nervous about Emma, her daughter, but talking about her has put him at ease. Her having a good relationship with her father has also helped because basically his biggest thing is, I don't want to be a stepdaddy. I'm not there yet. I'll be her friend, but I don't want to be her stepdaddy. Fair. And she's like, no, no, no. She has a father. He's great with her. We're good here. It gets to become a privilege, he says, which I actually really like that. But he reads what he wrote to her, which is sweet. I'm not going to get into it. Then he gets down on one knee and proposes, and of course, she says yes. Then both Kia and Tyler are sitting beside each other, and there's a poly awkward. It's really awkward. Kevin is then with Kia again because, I really like our connection and I love opening the door to you. So this is very exciting for me. I have that part. It's fine. But for him, he says, it's just it's just hard. Okay. He does talk to Kia about his mom as well. So we've already talked about that. Her dad died when she was little, and her mom has been battling addiction, so her grandma raised her. She says her dad loved watches. So after he died, she never had a watch. But before coming here, she ended up getting a watch. And the watch reminds her to just be there for herself. I love that. I love that. He says, I think you're a conqueror. But it just feels awkward between them. Personally, there's like a lot of weird silences. It's just weird. I don't see the connection here. I feel like he's just dragging this out at this point. But don't worry, y'all. It's going to get worse. Back at the quarters, Tyler is being absolutely unnecessary. She's saying things like, I figured out it's Kia. I figured it out. I figured out Kia is the other person who's dating my man. Okay. She's the sad piece. Honey, bunny. I don't like that behavior. Don't be that fucking girl. Secondly, you're on a television show where you're out here dating everybody in the pods to see who is your one. He's doing nothing wrong. He ain't cheating on you. He ain't doing none of that. This is the experience. This is a social experience, my girl. So for you to be out being like, oh, she's a fine fuck you. That's not cool. Don't be like that. Calm your tits. That should have been the indication that Tyler might be off her meds a little bit, or she needs to be on them. Because holy, no one's perfect in the situation except for one. I think I summed up who that one will be. Cause sure the fuck ain't Kevin. Anyway, then they have a date. I think Kevin and Tyler. He tells her, it's easy with you, but I'm struggling. He says, I don't feel good about one moving to a place for love alone. Because what's love got to do with it? Right? We all heard Tina. Let's not disrespect Tina down and be like, that has everything to do with it. No, it should be meeting in the middle. I hear him. So she says, okay, well, could you do that then? And he's like, maybe. But he's still struggling, y'all. He's still struggling. He wasn't expecting from his first date to be good because he thought he was going to end it. That was the plan. She says, I think I know who that is, but I want someone to pick me unapologetically. Okay, fair. Understood. I think again, everyone wants that. But you're on a show where the objective is date everybody that's available to you in this experience. See what works for you, if any. So, yeah. So, in this moment, I have to pick myself. So, I'm thinking, okay. So, she's going to pick herself. So, we're done here then. She's picking for him. So I'm thinking, okay, great. I literally wrote the next sentence. So that's a wrap on them. Thinking, okay, Kevin and Tyler are done. So, but wait, there's more. He says she's great, but she wants to walk out. And she says, I'm going to stop you here. I don't want to keep hearing how great I am. Like, doesn't help. I can't do this again. When she walks out, he says, I'm not picking anyone. I'm just I'm just talking about how I feel because I have feelings. Listen, you are entitled to your feelings. I have no problem with you feeling. I can imagine if you are into two different women here, this is going to be tough for you. Okay, totally understood. But my guy, this isn't working. What you're doing isn't working. It's already not working when it started. Then we have our next reveal coming. This time is with Jordan and Amber. And I love that in like the doors to like the um where they meet up. Um she's like posing, strike a pose, Vogue. I thought it was hilarious. It's great. Anyways, we ended off though there with, the usual doors open, but we don't see the reactions. We have to wait till the next episode, blah blah blah. But you will get to it. But however, you do have to wait for my next coverage. So this is it for me here on episode 2. We will come back whenever. I think the next episode should be the 3rd episode. With the next episode, we will be jumping in with episode 3. Until then, y'all, that is it for me. That is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T times 2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality times 2 pod, I believe. You can email me at realityt times 2 at hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality t times 2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you can tip whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality t times 2, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get another reality show that's being covered So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro. But the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.